Who else could open a supposed treatise on symbolist artists with a blast of Led Zeppelin, giant bloated shapes, garish color and lots of bling? Of course, only John Galliano in his Haute Couture style. He blew huge volumes of air into multi-meter-long swaths of Duchesse satin, weaving floral shapes and sprawling swag into every silhouette that floated by. Garnished with oversized plastic flowers, chunks of sequins, and ruffles of sequin embroidery. Topping it all off are towering lacquered hairstyles, inspired by Vogue Vreeland, he said, and countless hats shaped like lampshades and saucers, created by the gravity-defying hand of Stephen Jones to hover above. The infamous portrait of Amélie Gautreau, painted by John Singer Sargent in 1884, and known as Madame X, was the starting point for a journey into the world of seduction, reads the synopsis for the Dior Couture SS 2008 collection. The painting of a socialite beauty, who scandalized Paris with her shocking combination of glamour and eroticism, reveals the interest of turn-of-the-century artists in the symbolic potential of painting. The perfection and understated austerity of Sargent's art echoes the precision of cut and silhouette created by Monsieur Dior, while the colors and ornamentation are inspired by the work of the symbolists. Symbolism in painting drew its direction from the poets and literary theorists of the movement, but at the same time represented a reaction against the objectivist goals of realism and the gaining strength of Impressionism. In contrast to the relatively concrete depictions sought by representatives of these currents, symbolist artists favored works based on fantasy and imagination. The position of the symbolists in painting was authoritatively defined by the young critic Albert Aurea, an enthusiastic admirer of Paul Gauguin, in his article in the magazine Mercure de France, 1891. He elaborated on Mauriac's assertion that the purpose of art is to clothe the idea in sensuous form and emphasize the subjective, symbolic, and decorative functions of art, which gives visual expression to the inner life. Symbolist artists turned to mysticism, and even the occult in an attempt to evoke subjective states of mind through visual forms. Nearly every outfit in the collection was cut from brightly colored silk, and then richly embroidered. Extraordinary craftsmanship gave life to motifs inspired by the works of artist Gustav Klimt, among others, and the designer used lots of volume for dramatic effect in exaggerated peplums, trapeze and pleated panels. Women's Wear Daily reported. The soundtrack for the collection was Led Zeppelin's 1969 hit Whole Lotta Love, and the accessories were sparkling headpieces inspired by Diana Vreeland's Vogue. Galliano explained, Vreeland was the magazine's editor-in-chief from 1963 to 1971. After all, something about the strange atmosphere of 1960s high society chic seemed surprisingly chic, concluded Vogue's Sarah Moore. According to Galliano, it was the path of inspiration from Sargent to Klimt that gave birth to the richness of the collection. Bright reds, purples, yellows, purples and limes brought the collection to the brink of overload, on dizzying platforms a la Japanese cuisine. Yet, oddly enough, this wasn't one of Galliano's more manic excursions into fantasy costumes. After all, Something about the strange atmosphere of 60s high society luxury seemed surprisingly chic.